1 Edward 1029, copy, threatening traffic.
Copy, moving route.
Edward 1029, if you can please respond to 2020 McNeil Street, Lakeview.
Copy. If you still have run on, get the ATO information first.
Welcome to Shooting Straight with Brad and Casey. I'm Brad Carlyon, your Navajo County attorney, and my partner is?
Casey Clark, Navajo County Sheriff.
This month, we're going to talk about the Sheriff's Auxiliary Volunteers, and we have the newly elected president of the SAVs, George Corsi, with us. Thank you, George, for joining us.
My pleasure.
George, thanks for being here, and congratulations
my pleasure,
on your
sir.
election.
Thank you, sir.
So, George, can you tell us what the SAVs do?
I can. The organization was established in 1991. The first unit was White Mountain Lakes, the second being Heber Overguard. And from there, we've grown to 5 units in 5 different cities with about 62 members at present. We actually do community security and patrol. We work the fair. We work traffic control at accident scenes or various incidents that involve the sheriff's office. We have a house watch program. At our peak, we do 366 homes. Our peak being wintertime when owners are absent. And we patrol twice a week. And we are actually available to the sheriff and his deputies at anything that they need. They call us frequently.
And it's amazing the different things that I think we've expanded the services of the SAV over the last years. We have people that work in our evidence section. We have people that work doing data input. We've had some people work in the jail. They also, like George, I think you've done 28 hours in the last 2 days.
Yes.
Let's talk about that a little bit.
Doing our search and rescue.
What have you and the other members of the SAV been doing to put in so many hours?
I'm sorry. We actually assist with search and rescue. We are not part of search and rescue, but we assist with search and rescue. We share a common bond, and that being the sheriff's office. And we had an activity going on the Navajo Nation this weekend, or actually this week, excuse me. And it's 2 different incidents, I'm sorry.
Okay.
One was the search and rescue on the Apache Nation, and the other was the bike race on the Navajo Nation. It's a 3-day race where we were escorts for the bike riders.
Not only that, but you donated the bikes to them.
We did. We donated 5 bikes
Yeah.
to them this year in concert with the sheriff's office.
Neat. I know when we had this shooting at the courthouse a while back, a number of your SAVs were there assisting too. Do you know what kind of help you guys were providing that time?
Yes, sir. It was crime scene security. It was turned over to us in the evening, where everybody going in has to sign in, everybody coming out has to sign out. If they return, they have to sign back in again. And it's to protect the crime scene, only authorized people in.
And these folks go through an academy, 6 weeks,
Yes.
6-week academy, and they learn crime scene control, they learn traffic control, driving, constitutional law, and so forth. And our SAV, some I believe help teach it just because they've been in, but mainly our deputies volunteer to help teach that. And we started here about 2 years ago, George, kind of a regional one now.
Yes, indeed.
So that whether it's a Show Low VIP or St. John's VIP or Pine Top Lakeside Snowflake, we're kind of all on the same page now, to where they all learn the same thing, because on these big scenes, we all come together.
Also, like the groups with the local municipal departments that are like the SAVs are going through the same program?
It's a regional training academy now for them, because they work together recently. The Cedar Fire. We had folks from different organizations all helping.
Were you involved in the Cedar Fire, George?
Yes, I was. Many of the SAVs were. Many other volunteer organizations were, all of whom were graduates of the Navajo County Academy. And we were prepared and briefed and prepared on early evacuation, pre-evacuation notice, and assigned various areas to work. And then subsequent to that, we were doing traffic control, road security along the 300 road to ensure nobody entered the fire area.
So if there had been an evacuation called, you and your fellow SAVs and other volunteer organizations would have been going through the neighborhoods to check on people?
That is correct. That is correct, yes.
You know, and it's, I think if I remember right, last Saturday I gave you a certificate before you were elected. I think it was for 1,000 hours, George?
2,500.
2,500. And those are, you were there, Brad, and we gave out many of those, plus the 1,000 hour. But I've never figured that up as far as, even if you put that at minimum wage, the amount of money that saves this county and the citizens, it's a tremendous amount of money, and they just, you folks just keep on coming out and working. And we call, you know, I work, Sergeant Scott Badger's and the liaison to the SAV, and boy, he calls and they just show up. So very heartfelt thanks.
Yes, thank you. They call us all hours of the day and night. And, you know, even though it's a little difficult to respond sometimes to those very late hours, the unit pulls together and they deploy.
How long ago did you go through the SAV Academy, George?
A little over 3 years ago.
And what are the biggest memories from that academy for you, the things that you took out of it?
The degree of knowledge that sworn officers have to serve. We don't receive all of that, but we do in fact get a briefing on some of the criteria that they have to be astute with and to. And it's really enlightening what sworn officers have to do to complete their jobs. It is truly enlightening. Plus, the traffic control is much more than anybody can imagine to protect the lives of people and property. And then crime scene security, that is quite an education. Constitutional law happens to be one of my favorites, so I really enjoyed that. And Arizona statutes was very interesting.
I assume that there's ongoing education for you and your fellow members?
That is correct. We established a little over a year ago actually, a field training exercise where each unit has a field training officer, and every so many weeks those officers get together and decide on a uniform plan for that month of what kind of training the entire unit will receive so that it's coherent throughout all of the units. It's the same. And it happens virtually every month.
It's you know, this one, when it was first formed, this was formed under Sheriff Butler, and he took it, Pima County has a SAV unit, and it was kind of patterned after that. And of course, they serve a lot in Pima County, but the, you know, our burglaries in Heber are down significantly, and I believe that's a lot to the house watch that goes on over there. Our response times are down, you know, dramatically over the years, and I believe that's a lot due to the SAV because they are doing data input, or they are doing crime scene control, where the deputies are still out doing their regular business. So I really credit the SAV with a lot of what's going on there. And again, if you look at the members and how many hours they put in, our budget would not allow that. We just don't have it.
This house watch sounds like a very valuable service that you provide. If somebody wants to get their home put in on it, do you have to ask, or you just patrol all the neighborhoods?
There is a form that has to be filled out. We have to have permission from the property owner to be on the property. So there's a form that has to be out. It's available, it has to be signed, excuse me. It's available at navajocounty.gov at the sheriff's website. All the way on the bottom, there's an SAV link, and then from there, there's a House Watch application link. And they can actually fill that out online and submit it online, and that will be routed to the appropriate unit in the area where that homeowner lives.
But they do just regular patrol also.
Absolutely.
The House Watch is one where they actually go onto the property, walk around, check the doors, windows, and so forth. But they are out there on patrol also, just through the different neighborhoods across the county.
That's right. We actually do walk around the properties We check all outbuildings and RVs that may be on the property. And in the wintertime, we check for water leaks that are visible outside. And we every year find 3 or 4 water leaks, one of which we had to call the water company to come turn the water off. It was so bad. And the homeowners are very appreciative because that avoids thousands of dollars worth of damage. And we are out, as the sheriff says, we are out all the time. The community, the bad guys, never know when and where we're going to be. So the exposure to the community and for the sheriff's office is tremendous.
How does one join an SAV if they're interested?
Every unit has an application for the SAV, and I do believe there's one also online at that same website. And it's just a simple form to be filled out, and then there's an interview process once that form is filled out, and then there's a fingerprinting once that form is sent to the sheriff's office with a fingerprint, and it goes through a background check of the person, and then comes back to the unit. And if it's approved, they're assigned a badge number. Everybody has a badge number, and they're available to work, limited until they graduate the academy.
And what type of a time commitment does it take to be an SAV?
We ask for a minimum of 8 hours a month, averaged over 3 months. And we do make special arrangements for people who have difficulty. One of the wonderful things about the SAV is we make arrangements for anyone and everyone to serve, given their physical abilities. Some people have to sit. We make arrangements for that. So with the administrative work that we do for the sheriff's office, it's a wonderful place for people who have physical disabilities.
Or they just don't want to go out and patrol. You know, one of the things that when I had become sheriff, I looked at the amount of experience we have. Most of these folks are older retired people. We've had some that worked in the aerospace industry. We have some that have worked in prior law enforcement. And so at one point it was just kind of they were doing one thing, but you take the life experience that we have of 60 some people, and it's amazing the different things that they can come up and do then. So there's really nothing that I have come across so far that I wouldn't trust with the SAV. You know, Don Griffiths, lieutenant, he's even looking at taking some and using them as like a cold case squad, just doing research and so forth, because we have some retired law enforcement in there. So anyway, it's another thing we're looking at to do with the SAV. And again, I can't, you know, it always seems so simple, or it's not enough when I always sit there and I go to the meetings and say thank you, because they've just done a tremendous job for the citizens of this county.
Well, the majority of the people who join the SAV are very interested in giving back to the community. Mm-hmm. And along with that comes the dedication, because they wanted to join. And they are very proud to be members and serve the sheriff's office. So we're blessed with a wealth of knowledge from the various backgrounds and experience that comes with that, and helps the SAV grow and stay commensurate with current times.
You get to wear the neat uniforms too.
That's exactly right. We get to wear neat uniforms, yes.
You know, and George has been in a leadership position since almost he got here. I think right. You were the director of Heber Overguard. I think you were the vice director.
Yes. Yeah.
So he served in many different capacities and voted in as president by his peers this year. So
what responsibilities will you now have as the president of all the SAV groups in the county?
I will be responsible to oversee all the unit activities. Each unit is responsible for their own area activities, and if they have difficulties, I will help them resolve those difficulties, coordinate with the sheriff's office and various community leaders on what we call requests for service. It's a form that has to be filled out for us to participate in an activity, also available online at the sheriff's website. And that's to keep the sheriff informed of what we're doing and authorize us to provide service to these various organizations. And Some of them they ask for more people than what they need, so we sit down with them and evaluate the real needs so that we're not overexposed. Personnel issues, which are sometimes elevated to the sheriff's office, most times not. Fortunately, we don't have many of those. And the training that's required, retraining, we have several things that we do that require mandatory semi-annual or biannual training, and we make sure that those are kept current.
And just as of last Saturday, George didn't have gray hair. 1 week.
Right, that's exactly right, yes.
And you got your certificate for volunteering 2,500 hours. Out of those hours, what memories stick out the most to you of what you've done as an SAV?
I believe some of them happen to be serving up on the Navajo Nation, which I really enjoy a lot. The House Watch, something that I'm very, very proud of. We grew that in 2014 to what it is today. 2014, it was pretty low, and we spent a lot of time working on that and promoting it to the communities. So we're very, very proud of that. The county fair is something we're proud to serve and support. I don't know that there's any one single event or activity that I could identify as being the most memorable for me. I enjoy all of it, virtually all of it.
There's certain events that the SAV have become very well known for within the different communities. The Winslow Christmas Parade every year.
Yes.
So that we know that's going to happen. They know they're going to be asked. The Snowflake Pioneer Days,
Right.
Corn Festival, and so forth. The Sholo Days here, they're always asked to assist. Of course, the county fair is a big one.
Yes.
So there are certain events that, Old West Days, and then I think this year was the first for the Route 66 that Holbrook had.
Yes, it was.
So I think bicycle races, there's certain events that they know and plan for. But George is right. A lot of times they'll ask for 20 people. And it's like we've been doing this for years, and we know it only takes 2. So, and there's only so many of these folks, and again, I think, would you say 28 hours in the last 2 days?
Yes.
So that's just amazing, the amount of help that they give us.
You guys helping with the High Country Half Marathon coming up in the first part of August?
Yes, we are. Yes,
Well,
we
wave
are.
to me as I run by.
All right, we'll do that. We'll do that. One of the other things that keeps us in contact with the community, elbow to elbow communities, we do fingerprinting throughout the entire county.
For the kids.
A lot in schools. We fingerprint children in schools, obviously with parents' permission. And those cards are given to the parents for security for their children. And we fingerprint adults all the time for various reasons they need fingerprints. And next week we are doing fingerprinting at the Navajo Medical Center in Winslow. It's something we do every year.
There was a Boy Scout Jamboree here about a month ago.
Yeah.
I think there was 250 kids there.
250, yes.
And I think besides the fingerprint, there's also DNA swabs now
yes,
too.
yes.
And that's all turned over to the parents. So it's just another great thing that they've done. In Joe City, they fingerprint the DNA swabs, different schools. So a little peace of mind for the parents.
Yes, indeed.
So it's no shortage of what they do.
And so the easiest way to contact if a group wants to see if they can use your services is going through the Sheriff's Department website?
That's correct. Scott Badger, they could call Scott Badger direct. I'm pretty sure he won't be happy that I'm saying that because he's got so many hats that he wears. He's a very busy guy, and we quite frankly appreciate everything he does for us. But they can contact one of the unit directors, or the best way is really the sheriff's website.
But there's other times if somebody sees them out at an event, come and talk to them, and they'll get you on. We've had some different events where they set up tables to not a job opportunity, but a volunteering opportunity.
Exactly.
And so we've had some of that and some success at that. But over the years, typically what I have found with the SAV is many volunteers, whether it's the different service clubs or whatever, there's a 3-year, maybe 5-year window where they're very active but we have some that have been on forever. and they just don't stop. They just keep on working.
And that's true. The oldest member, longevity-wise, is since 1992.
That's a lot of
Yes.
years of serving his community.
Yeah, the next one that I know of is 1993. So
So-
we've got some members who've been around a long time.
You know, we have one individual that literally puts in 40 hours a week in our evidence section. I mean, 40 hours a week. I mean, that's a
It's a significant savings to the county.
absolutely.
Yes.
So, but that's just, you know, that's exactly what he prefers to do. We have one lady that comes in every Tuesday to the sheriff's office there in Holbrook, and she cleaned up a lot of old files for us. So, again, there's no one thing that's that they do that's more important than the other. It's all giving back to the citizens. So,
And then you have an annual meeting.
Yes, we do. It's in July of every year where we all get together as an organization, and there's a social activity period. We have a quarterly board meeting with the sheriff prior to that meeting, and then we all have lunch, and then we do our corporate business. The sheriff gives out awards for those who have been submitted, and then we have the annual vote for the corporate board officers. That's in July. The date fluctuates from year to year, but it's in July of every year.
So people like you were recognized for the hours they did, be it 1,000, 2,500. I think there was even a 5,000.
there has been.
Yes, and yeah, that is correct. Various officers, we call them, from various units are submitted by their director and or the president of the organization for various awards. Those awards go up to the sheriff's office and are completed, and the sheriff and his team, they give the awards at the annual meeting. And it's really a fantastic pat on the back. Thank you for a job well done.
People need to be recognized for what they
Absolutely,
do.
yes, indeed.
You know, and it's one of the, as Brad, you go to many events, and I go to many events all over the county, state, and it's like I tell them every year, that SAV Luncheon Awards is probably one of my favorite. It's just, as I sit there and look out across the crowd, just thinking of the thousands of hours that have been donated back to our community.
Well, George, our time is up, and I really want to thank you for joining us
Thank you for
and
having
letting
me.
us know about the SAVs.
Congratulations again.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us again this month. Stay tuned for we'll have this month's Most Wanted. Thank you again.
The Navajo County Sheriff's Office Criminal Investigations Unit is currently seeking information into the death of Mr. Wilfred Eaton. Wilfred was found deceased on July 10, 2016, approximately 1/2 mile from his residence in Sun Valley. Detectives are looking into Wilfred's death as a homicide. Wilfred has been referred to as the Sun Valley Dancer or the Dancing Man. Wilfred was seen in Holbrook on Saturday, July 9, 2016, in the afternoon hours. Detectives would like to know if anyone gave Wilfred or observed someone giving Wilfred a ride back to Sun Valley from Holbrook on July 9, 2016. If anybody has any information about Wilfred Eaton's death, or if you had contact with Wilfred on July 9th or July 10th, 2016, we encourage you to contact Navajo County Sheriff's Office at 928-524-4050, or we tip at 1-800-78-CRIME.